I'm sitting here in the fireplace up on Ravage, which was once a Hebridean death station and is now defunct. And I'm surrounded by the last of the Norwegian archive before it gets shipped off to the Scottish Poetry Library and also very kindly up to the Shetland Museum archives. You can see some of the specimens over here. To introduce Norge is to introduce an abstruse character, I feel. And so where I've covered most of the points I want to say in the book, I'll perhaps highlight a few to those of you who are keen to venture into it, rather than give you an explanation per se of quite what he was up to. He was a modernist by instinct, I think, as well as by happenstance, lucky to be born into the era he was. His compatriots would have included Hugh MacDiarmid, and he was actually born on Walser. So he preserved those much more northerly instincts, as well as coming west over to the Hebrides to investigate memory in the Gaelic sense. He was mapping in the 1960s the underground city in Edinburgh, which some of you may know of. The City of the Dead is part of it, which may be a slight misnomer, but for Norge, who was also receiving treatment from a Eilean psychoanalyst there, this was ideal. He could chart and map mnemonic memory terrain down there until he became proficient, and at the same time was deeply obsessed with Dante, but in the context of memories. So Dante was very much this figure who activated the poetic landscape he inhabited within the Inferno in particular. Norge would refer to Dante's wood as the memorial wood, and this struck him very deeply. So we find him in really the early months of 1961 beginning to, as he would describe it, deteriorate on a number of levels. Possibly not in his imagination, though I would say that was the one thing that was activated by his deterioration. And he, having researched memory, arrives on Ravage, Isle of the Dead, which is also called Bhàis for short, to further investigate memory within this defunct death station, this island which he mapped 10 sites on, one of them being the Port na Marv, which is very much like the port that was on Iona, where they received the bodies by boat, and they were landed on a yella, or a landing stone. So he arrives, sort of semi-shipwrecked. His little motorboat catches fire. You know, he's an avid smoker. Most of his papers catch fire, and it's only because of the lighthouse keeper there, Luce Moncrief. Luce, of course, meaning light. Moncrief from the Gaelic, meaning fruit tree on the hill. She's the light keeper and has been part of that for many generations. Rescues him, restores him. He continues his obsessive wanderings. He's deeply absorbed by the island. And he's also looking at William Seabury's strange linkings of early tarot card interpretations across to Dante and the Troubadourian tradition. So he's starting to evolve that a little more. And as the summer progresses, the storms blow in unusually for that time of year. We have the Sam Sea, which in the Western Isles is a sea of glass, but it stinks. It's very strong. It has a penetrative smell. You know, it's been described as smelling like a woman's parts, or generally having something putrid about it. So you have this stinking hot sea, and the Hebrides, anybody who's been up there will know it can be extraordinarily hot. The air is very pure. You can get quite burnt actually in the summer. He's up there. He thinks he sees a shoreline of destroyed bodies, including angelic bodies called the Teor, which is the Gaelic for refuse that's left along the shoreline. And from then on, rapidly deteriorates. He already a strange character. You know, he has a mirror which he uses to shave, but it's a World War II shaving mirror, so it's steel, and it's not warped, but it's tempered, you know. And in it, he thinks he sees a character called Monvur. Monvur is, he believes, Norge believes, one of the fallen angels from the Highland malefic wind of voices. And that wind is known in folklore annals as the Sluch Namarv, which is the wind of folk. Oh, so yes, this is not going well for him on the island at this point, you know, because Monvur advises him that the Sluch Namarv, which is notorious for picking people up, it actually transports sheep and human beings and anything else they care to carry around, and deposits them, often causing broken bones. I won't go into the psychoanalytic interpretations of the Sluch Namarv, but it's well-attested territory within Scottish folklore through Carmichael and others, and Campbell. But for Norge, he believes it's a tribe of, or a clan of fallen angels, and that Monvur is his reflection as one of those within its flock, and that he is now to take on the mantle of the knowledge of demonhood. So there you go. So it's slightly more complicated for Norge in that demonhood for him isn't, you know, tongs and fangs. It's very much a case of his research becoming manifest within him. So everything that he has been looking at within the classical art of memory, which in the Greco-Roman tradition would involve inventing a place and situating it with key objects, often personae, statues, who are extremely beautiful or extremely bloody. There was a violent impression to be made, anything that made a seal on the memory. And Norge believes now that he is in fact one of these catalysts for a greater imagination. So his demonhood actually consists in him believing that he's not really a poet, he's not really a fallen angel. He is the what we would call the imago agento, the living memory catalyst of a poet who is a fallen angel on an island for the memory of God, as Norge would have it within the Hebridean Christian tradition. So this starts to unfurl a little further in that he then starts to feel that God himself may be an image for the greater universe to recall everything that attends him, and so on and so forth. So that's the diagram as it goes this way. He stretches it this way though. And I think the novel and the poetry of his that's included, if it's seen as epistolary, the collection really, you get a better sensation of who these characters in his life are, one of them being Luce Moncrief. And yeah, it becomes fairly clear, I hope, that they are in fact aspects of Norge himself. So they're poetic attributes. So where Norge typifies will, he is the will of the piece. Luce Moncrief, the lighthouse keeper, is Norge's own illumination. And yes, you probably have to read the novel to find out what happens next. But I hope that's a worthy introduction to some of his aims. And I'll talk a little more about the two manuscripts that I've uncovered here on the island when I come to read them. Thank you.